Thank you for watching or listening to the ASB Author Showcase, spotlighting authors from around the world. ASB Author Showcase is produced by Author School of Business, an author-owned organization helping authors to fully understand the business side of being an author. If you would like to be on the show or to be a sponsor of the show, simply email us at authorschool@outlook.com. Your hostess for today's show is Mary Ann Faremouth.
Welcome to the part 2 of the Author Showcase episode. My name is Mary Ann Faremouth, and I feel privileged and honored to have a guest on the show that's helped so many authors become successful, including myself. B Alan Bourgeois' writing career began at the age of 12, but it wasn't until 1989 that his writing career took a formal turn at the college level. In 2011, Bourgeois founded the Texas Authors Association to help authors better market and sell their books. Alan has really expanded his platform and developed the Author School of Business, held conferences, contests, and seminars, and to date has written 35 books and won numerous writing awards. Today, however, we're going to focus on his top 10 book series that provides a myriad of important tips and strategies in these transitory and changing times. So without further ado, help me welcome Alan Bourgeois. Alan, say hello to everybody.
Hello, Mary Ann. Thanks for having me on here.
Oh, it's great. It's always great to have you with us. Alan, you've written some wonderful books that I believe in these times are books that anyone who's thinking of writing or isn't already an author needs to have on hand, because these books have so much information in them. They can really help you kind of expedite the success process in the writing world. So tell us a little bit about some of these books. You've got so many good ones here. 10 publishing issues authors deal with, 10 steps to build an engaged reader. I mean, you pick one and tell us. There's so many good ones. I don't know where to start, so I'll leave it up to you.
Well, you're right. There are a total of 23 of the top 10 series, but it all started from the 100 plus questions an author writer should ask. And from writing that book, which actually had over 116 questions, it created then the top 10 series, where I went into more detail for all the different things and stuff. As you mentioned, issues authors have when trying to publish. That is a tough one because a lot of people don't understand the publishing aspect, don't understand what they need to know in order to have a successful book, to make sure it's printed properly. A lot of people will go to Amazon, which is great, but it also limits them to the other potential audience that exists out there. Amazon represents 70% of the United States market, but worldwide, they only represent about 45 to 50%. So they're missing out on the rest of the world. And those are things that are critical to an author's success, is understanding that nowadays authors actually do have their books being read by people from around the world. So that's an example of some of the stuff we write about in that particular book.
Okay, well, that's great. And I'm always learning too. I mean, I've been an author since 2017, but because it's changed so much. I mean, it really has, Alan, and especially now with so many people writing post-COVID, I think this information is just paramount importance for all of us to know. So, you mentioned something really interesting to me right now, that Amazon is only 45% of the readership out there. So can you name a couple others that people need to know about? Or I guess all that would be in your book, huh?
It would be, but Ingram Media Group is definitely one of the major players worldwide to help authors get their books out there and stuff. A lot of people don't understand that by putting your book on Ingram, it automatically goes to Amazon. So you can skip that step of Amazon. A lot of people think, well, you have to put it on Amazon in order to be able to get all the benefits. Well, that's not necessarily true these days. There are bookstores, indie bookstores, Barnes & Noble, Books A Million, but then all the indies that do support indie authors and stuff. And it's important that authors understand that. So that also comes back to understand marketing mistakes, which is one of the books. if you're not out there properly marketing your book and knowing what a book sell sheet is and stuff like that, again, you're losing opportunities for book sales. So that's just some of the examples.
Mm-hmm. 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 You know, another good book here that I wish I would have had is 10 Mistakes Authors Make Presenting at Events. You know, I've spent a lot of money with booths and being at different events, and sometimes, you know, I don't sell any books. And I bet this book would have helped me, you know how to do it in a way that would be more successful. Tell us a little bit about that book, 10 Mistakes Authors Make Presenting at Events.
You're absolutely right. Most authors, unfortunately, when they are at events, tend to not be actively engaging with the people that are around the event, whether they're at a book festival or a speaker's event or whatever. They tend to kind of stay to themselves. That's typical of most authors because they just prefer that. But if you're going to have a book, you need to be out there. You need to be promoting it in a good, positive way. And so being engaged with people at the event is the number one issue. In addition, then, of course, having the proper material at your booth so that people have something to walk away with. That's also important. Bookmarks, business cards, QR code access, like just some of the examples of things you want to have available and stuff. But just engaging, that's one of the most important things that we talk about in the mistakes for authors is not being engaged. And one of the books that is in this last group is advice from an author consultant, which is me. And that's one of the most important things I talk about is make sure you're not sitting at a booth on your phone or on a laptop or with a friend just chatting away, because you're missing the opportunity of having people who do come up and look at what you have to be able to talk to. I see so much more success with those that do engage those people than those that just don't.
No, I agree. You know, I'm an introvert. I'm a friendly introvert, but I'm an introvert. And I know when I go to some events, you know, I tend to be a little more reserved, which really kills my sales. So what you're saying is so important. And I think this other book too is kind of related to that. And that is top 10 things to consider for a great sales pitch. Because I think in a way we are salesmen. We have to have a sales pitch for our book or it's not going to get sold. So tell us, is that book kind of telling you how to do it, how to engage? Is that what that book is about?
Exactly. And it's how to create that sales pitch short, sweet, and simple that people want to know more about the book. You may be familiar with the term elevator pitch. When you got basically 30 seconds to grab someone's attention to get them interested in what you're presenting. So that elevator pitch is a very short aspect of this overall sales pitch. You want to keep your sales pitch short, sweet, and simple, but enough information to get them hooked into wanting to know more. And that sales pitch is also usually what you'll find on the back of a book, so that when people are at a bookstore, they're reading it and they're wanting, again, to know more. They want to be able to open the book, to talk to somebody, if the author's there, or to open the book and just learn, what is this book about? Is this really something I'm interested in? So that sales pitch is so critical.
Mm-hmm, it really is. And the other thing too, Alan, that I think you offer us authors so beautifully and so extensively is, would be in this other book, Top 10 Keys to Create an Author Network. Because I believe all the different author activities you offer with the conferences and the interviews and the classes and all the different seminars and things you offer, I think that does allow us as authors to network. And I know the ones I've joined you with where I've met authors has allowed me to become more successful and sell more books. So is that pretty much what that book is about, is how do you create an author network and how do you work with other authors so that you can have a kind of a relationship with that author that'll be mutually beneficial. You can help that author and that author can help you. Is that in this book too, Alan?
Yes, you're absolutely right. Having that author network is very important. And it doesn't just go from author to author, but helping future writers, that want to become authors, but also within the network of publishing industry. You want to build those relationships because ultimately you do want to be successful, and having those relationships will help you along that path. You never know who you're going to meet that may get you to that speaking engagement, that all of a sudden you're talking in front of 1,000 people or 100 people. So networking is critical. And so many times I've seen it at book festivals where somebody who is talking and engaging with those people, all of a sudden finds somebody that is a member of a PTA or a librarian or part of a speakers group or whatever. So networking is so critical, and we do offer that through the Author School of Business, through my own business, Bourgeois Media. So it is important, definitely one of those things. Again, having that sales pitch, knowing what you're doing, all of that just comes together and helps the author become more successful.
Well, I agree. And I think Alan is one person that actually does walk his talk. So what's in these books, he actually does, because he offers all these different things. He offers a networking. He offers the marketing classes. He offers all these different things that really are so crucial to your success as an author. So we're going to take a short break and we're going to come right back. Thank you.
Each and every one of us has a mission in life. Mine is to help people laugh through the good times and the bad. My name is Charlotte Canyon, and I'm an author, a speaker, and a host on Indie Beacon Radio. If you need me to speak at an event or autograph my book, you can contact me at charlotte@charlottecanyon.com. Thank you, and have a blessed day.
Looking to take your writing career to the next level? Look no further than 100 plus questions a writer/author should ask. With over 100 questions curated by award-winning author and speaker B Alan Bourgeois, the founder and CEO of the Authors School of Business, this book is a must-have for any aspiring or established writer. Bourgeois, a seasoned publisher, author advocate, and educator, brings his wealth of experience to the table to help you better understand the publishing world and succeed in your career. Don't miss out on this valuable resource. Get an additional bonus of a 1-month free subscription to the Authors School of Business valued at $12.95.
Mary Ann Faremouth is a career consultant with 30 years' experience in the national recruiting world, a multi-award-winning author in multi-genres, and a speaker that gives presentations to help you succeed. Her book, Revolutionary Recruiting, made the top 20 global list of recruiting books. Find her on Amazon, your favorite bookstore, or at Faremouth.com.
Are you a poet looking for an opportunity to showcase your talent and win exciting prizes? Look no further than the Authors School of Business Poetry Contest.
Join a community of talented poets and get your work recognized by industry professionals. This is your chance to take your poetry career to the next level.
Our contest is open to poets of all ages and backgrounds, and we welcome poems in any style or genre. So whether you're a seasoned writer or just starting out, we want to hear your voice.
Visit our website to learn more about the contest rules and how to submit your work. Don't miss out on this incredible opportunity to showcase your poetry and win amazing prizes.
Join the Authors School of Business Poetry Contest and become a part of a community that celebrates the beauty and power of poetry.
Welcome back to the ASB Author Showcase with your hostess, Mary Ann Faremouth.
Welcome back to this episode of the Author Showcase. My name is Mary Ann Faremouth, and I'm really excited today to have B Alan Bourgeois with us. Very, very experienced, skilled person in the writing author network, and he's written a top 10 steps, a series of books for extremely good information here. And I've been so happy and grateful to have his expertise to allow my own writing career to expand and grow. And for him to put all this information in books, I think is invaluable. And one of the things that, one of the books he's got here that I think is a really interesting, good book that I can't wait to read myself is 10 Steps for a Writer's Self-Care. Because I will tell you, as a writer of many books, I think we really do need that self-care, and sometimes we ignore that. So tell us a little bit about what that book's about, Alan.
You're right. Self-care is very important no matter what you do, but writers have their own little things. Deadlines are especially one of the big ones and stuff. So in the process of going through all these books, you're trying to map yourself time for yourself. We tend to be, most authors are working a full-time job. They have those strict deadlines that they are always trying to focus in on. But they get frustrated when they don't, and they end up with writer's block. That is a big one that I see a lot of authors suffer with. So through this book, you're learning steps to smooth it out. Don't push yourself too hard, but just at the right level, and how you can then think about ways of relaxing. Don't forget to have time for yourself so that you're able to be refreshed when you're working on a new book or even revising an editorial aspect. So this book has 10 different steps, 10 different things to consider as you're going through the process of writing, so you're not stressing yourself out. And also applies to when you're at events, when you're presenting, doing a speaking engagement, little keys that will help you to relax and be more at peace.
Well, I think that's wonderful. And I will say, I've lived that. I took a cruise back in 2000, I think it was 19, and I came back and I wrote a short story and I won a contest. And I think the reason I won that contest was because I did do that self-care. I did have some time for me. I did have some new experiences that gave me some new ideas. So I think this book is probably a really important one. The other thing, Alan, you've got so many good ones here, but another good one is the top 12 things to make the year of the indie authors great. And I do think 2023 and even 24 will be a year of indie authors. So tell us a little bit, give us a sneak peek about what's in that book.
Sure. So it's taking all the major aspects from the 23 books, shrinking it down to the top 12 most important aspects that any author can use to make the year of the indie authors, which is 2024, to be very successful. Understand a bit about marketing, understand a bit about the writing, the sales pitch, as we talked about, and all these little things that add up to making it a successful year. So whether they choose to get just that one book or get all 23 books, they're going to learn and grow and become more successful in that aspect. And while I'm thinking about it, on the website indieauthors24.com, they can get the book for free, or they can go to bourgeoismedia.com and get any one of these books for free and learn something that they may be lacking in their process of education and stuff.
Mm-hmm. Well, that's wonderful to know. And how great and how generous of you to offer that book at no charge. And indie authors, I'm sure most people that are listening will know what that means. But just to clarify, indie author is a self-published author as opposed to an author that goes through the process of being with a major publishing firm. But I think the majority of us are, indie authors. I think that's where the future is going. And I think it can be even more profitable to be an indie author because there's not as many restrictions and time limits and things of that nature. So
real quickly, if I may, in reference to the indie authors, not just those that are self-published, but those that use the hybrid process or those that go through small press, because most of those companies don't have the money to properly invest in marketing the author's book, so that the author ends up having to do a lot of it on their own, most all of it on their own. So those are still considered as indie authors as well. When you're talking about traditional, it's more the top 4 big publishing houses that the authors who publish through them are not considered indie. So any small to medium press and self-published author is more considered as an indie author.
Okay, well, thank you for clarifying that. That's good information for all of us to know. This other book, Alan, Top 10 Pieces of Advice from an Author Advocate and Consultant. That seems interesting. What's all that about?
So that's my take over the last 30 years of being in the industry, and especially the last 13 years of helping authors with marketing and stuff. It's the little tidbits that I picked up over time to help an author be more successful and stuff. So just my personal advice, my more educated, logical advice, just to help an author through the process.
Okay. Well, that's very valuable. And then too, you have, which I think is great. I can't wait to read this one. 10 mistakes authors make marketing their books. And oh, goodness sakes, I've made a lot of mistakes. I think you talked about some of them already. And that one is to, go to an event and sit there, look at your phone, and not be talking to people. But I'm sure there's a lot of other mistakes that authors make that they need to read about so they don't do it and hurt themselves. Give us a little bit of information about that book.
You're right. Again, it's one of those books that an author can purchase on its own and just get the basic information that they need so that they're avoiding not having a good sales pitch, not having a good book cover, not having a better understanding of marketing. Those things are important, and those are the key mistakes that authors make these days. Rushing themselves. We talked earlier about self-care. A lot of authors want to rush the book to production, and at times when they do that, they make mistakes. For example, I made a mistake rushing a book to publish. I forgot to put in chapters, and put in the pages that the chapters are on and stuff. So I had to go back and fix that. So that's a waste of time, money, and stuff like that we do. And it's simple little things that we can learn from in this book to avoid so that we are more successful.
Okay, well, I mean, every book that I see, that you've written, I think has such valuable information. There's another one here too I'm looking at now. It's 10 Steps to Build an Engaged Reader Community, because I think that's really important, because if you don't have an engaged reader community, you're not going to sell as many books. So how do you do that? How does this, just give us a few tips about that book, because I think that would be a really important one.
You're right. And, if you are lucky enough to have a reader's base that enjoys your books, you want to show your appreciation for that, but you also need to build that base too. So this book's talking about both aspects: how to build a reader base, and then how to show your appreciation for them. Too many authors take them for granted. Yes, there's millions and millions of readers and stuff, but an author needs to have more than just 5 or 6. They need more than 1,000. They need a few thousand just to become more successful in this stuff. So building that base, reaching out, being part of the community that readership is part of. For example, if you're a sci-fi writer, you want to be reaching out to the sci-fi audience. You don't want to be reaching out to the romance audience, because that's a different group. So you need to figure out who your audience is and then work with them and build upon that, show your appreciation. For example, a short story that you might write as part of the book, but it's a backstory. You can give that away to your readership for free, and that shows your appreciation, but it also hooks them to learn more about the characters and stuff, and more about a story you're working on. So there's a lot of different little things you can do to show your appreciation.
Yeah, and I think you touched upon something that I can really relate to. I think Alan has expertise for multi-genre authors. In other words, for authors that write in different genres. For a long time, I just wrote in the nonfiction genre, but because of being a member of Authors Marketing International and working with Alan, I did become a fiction writer. I wrote short stories, but there's definitely a whole different market segment, as he mentioned, for that genre as opposed to the nonfiction genre. So I think, I think what you're talking about here is so important, because I've realized that it took me a while to to transition into knowing how to market those books. And I just think all of these books are wonderful. I think they're extremely important. If a person out there, Alan, couldn't get all 25 of these books, or I think there's even more than that, but if there were like 5 or 10 that you think are really crucial to an author's success, what would you say? What would you suggest, or how would you suggest a person decide which ones to get first?
In many respects, that's a hard, question to answer because,
They're
23
all good.
books.
Yeah, I know.
So
I know.
to that, I would say, what areas do you feel you're lacking in? And then go with that particular book that relates
that's
to
great.
that.
I think that's
I
great.
tried as hard as I could to make sure we covered all the bases and related to publishing the book, so that no matter if you get, for example, the top 10 mistakes authors make marketing, they grow enough from that one to be more successful. The top 12 for any author year, again, a lot of little bits and pieces in there and stuff. I will tell you that in a lot of the books, it does seem to repeat itself because those are key points of information that are so important for authors to understand and to be able to grow with and work with. So again, go to what areas do you think you're lacking in? Why are you banging your head up against the wall, and get that book to help overcome that issue and then grow from that. As I mentioned, any author can get one of these books for free at bourgeoismedia.com. And they can just review all the books and determine which one's going to help them with that particular issue they think they're needing help with.
No, I think that's of paramount importance. I think we all have to do our own self-inventory of where we are in the process. And anyway, I just think that Ellen's offering invaluable information in this series of top 10 books. And as I said, I wanted to visit with all of you today because I myself have worked with Alan for many years, and he's really helped my book the process and projects go so much more smoothly and help me expand my platform. So let's take a break and we'll come right back.
As an author, it's important to find an organization that can provide the resources and support you need to succeed in the publishing industry. The Authors School of Business, ASB, is a well-respected organization that has been helping authors learn how to market and sell themselves and their books since 2011. Here are a few reasons why you should consider joining ASB instead of another organization. 1. Expertise and experience. 2. Comprehensive education. 3. Customized learning options. 4. Community and networking. 5. Cost-effective and flexible membership options. ASB is an excellent choice for authors who want to succeed in the publishing industry. By joining ASB, you can benefit from the organization's expertise and experience, receive comprehensive education, customize your learning experience, connect with a supportive community, and enjoy flexible and cost-effective membership options.
The garden was still there, full of vegetables and flowers, and a little lone rabbit sat nibbling on a pea plant. Cooney picked, chopped, and cooked some cabbage, chop, chop, chop. And Coda picked 2 carrots and cut them into pieces. I'm so happy to have a new friend. The end. Wasn't that fun?
Yeah!
Welcome back to the ASB Author Showcase with your hostess, Mary Ann Faremouth.
Welcome back to this episode of the Authors Showcase. My name is Mary Ann Faremouth, and I'm here with B Alan Bourgeois, talking about his top 10 book series. And he's got invaluable information here for writers and authors, and wonderful tips about how to market your book, how to essentially, at the end of the day, be the most successful writer, author you want to be or you can be. And Alan, I think it's great that you taking the time to put all these books out there, because I think so many of us, if we would have known about these books and been able to read these books, we might have not made the mistakes we've made that have been costly mistakes. I know I have anyway. So if a writer or author is listening to this and they want to get a hold of you, Alan, to find out about all these books and find out about all the services that you provide, how do they do that?
Sure. The easiest way is to go to my website, bourgeoismedia.com. On there is an option where they can schedule time with me for one-on-one consultation. I do a free 15-minute consultation to find out where they're at, what's going on, what they need help with. And then they can book additional time with me at an hourly rate to further understand. They can also find out where I'm going to be speaking and doing different events and stuff. And now that we're fully out of the COVID aspect, we're back into doing speaking engagements and stuff like that. So they can definitely see that on the website and learn more. And they can also see all my other books that I have. I do have over 30 books published, 34, 35 published over the years and stuff. So I have a wide variety of things. One of the books that's also out there that we really haven't talked about is about NFTs and blockchain, and how that is now a new avenue of income for authors that is still so new and so fast-paced growth that people are not knowing about. So there's a book for that. It's not a free one, I gotta be honest with you, because it does non-fungible token, which is basically, for a good example, let's say your cover, one of your book covers is a moving book cover, and you can then sell that to people for a limited edition price that ultimately ends up being revenue for generations down the road and stuff. Again, a lot of authors don't know, and that's one of the things we talk about, the Author School of Business Authors Marketing Network event coming up in September 15th through the 17th, that people can come and learn from, or go online and watch the virtual class there and stuff. But the book is very detailed. It explains what blockchain is, it explains what NFT is, and then it explains how authors can use it to their advantage for the future, because there's going to be a day that you can walk into a library or a bookstore and you'll just see a wall of electric books that you can see how the book covers are moving and changing, and they're almost like mini videos. And you can then get the ebook, and you'll be able to do it through a whole bunch of other aspects that people are just waking up to and understanding and stuff. But the best thing to do is go to my website, bourgeoismedia.com, and they can schedule a time to chat with me, or figure out where I'm going to be, or even schedule me to come in and do a talk on one of these books or on any subject relating to publishing and marketing.
Well, I think that's wonderful. And wow, Alan, I mean, how great for us to have a person, a resource we can tap into with you for not only what's going on right now, but where the future is going. And I think to have an individual professional that's so got his hand on the pulse of the future of publishing and books and all of that, I think that's invaluable. Again, I really can't say enough good things about what I've learned and how I've grown as an author from being associated with Alan and all of his different programs. I think this top 10 series books is it's a must for any author out there or writer that's thinking about being an author, because this can save you a lot of money from making mistakes, costly mistakes, but also give you insight into how to be successful in an expeditious way, and where the future is going, which I think we all need to know about that. Tell us again about, I know I've loved up being at all your conferences. The one coming up, where is that going to be, Alan? I know it's going to be virtual and in person, but where is that in-person event going to be?
So it's going to be in Austin at the Hilton Garden Inn in Austin, Texas, September 15th through the 17th. We'd love to have people come and be part of it. There's 24 classes, I think, currently scheduled. We'll probably add some more as it gets closer. But understanding that, inflation is hurting people, we do have the virtual aspect so they can stay at home and catch all the shows or the classes they want to learn via Zoom, the internet, so that they can still learn from it and still get a lot of valuable information. We have a lot of great speakers that will be talking at this event. It's our 8th year doing it. We're one of the oldest organizations doing these type of events. So we're really happy to be here as a service to the community.
Well, I've been to many of the in-person events, and I will be at this one. And I've also done all of the virtual ones when they weren't in person. And I cannot tell you, not only did I learn a lot, but the people I've met have been really helpful to me in advancing my writing career. So I think it's a must for any author, any writer out there to really investigate and go to Alan's website. Take a look at that. Even think about doing a session with him, because he can really help you really avoid a lot of costly mistakes and get you on the path to success a lot more quickly than you could get on your own. It's a great organization. Alan is the utmost person of integrity and knowledge of publishing and marketing. And it's a wonderful career path to embark on, but to do it successfully, it's best to have as many resources as you can to help you along the way. So, Alan, we're thrilled to have you on the show. I think it's been a great interview. And one more time, give us that email, that website, a name and address, and maybe your phone number.
I'm sure. I don't give out the phone number because I don't want to be out there for spam people and stuff. But the website is bourgeoismedia.com. From there, they can access how to schedule time with me. The email information is all there, so I'll be glad to respond to any questions they have. And I thank you very much for being here.
Well, I thank you, Alan. He's a wonderful person. He's very, very bright and very gifted as a publishing marketing expert, but also he's just a great person. And I feel honored to know him. So thank you all, and we'll see you all next time. Bye-bye.
Thank you for watching or listening to the ASB Author Showcase, spotlighting authors from around the world. ASB Author Showcase is produced by Author School of Business, an author-owned organization helping authors to fully understand the business side of being an author. If you would like to be on the show or to be a sponsor of the show, simply email us at authorschool@outlook.com. Thank you to Happy Follows for creating the music, Frolic of Words, for the ASB Author Showcase. You can find his music on all major platforms.